This is why the Buddha talks about rebirth. Never talks about reincarnation. Reincarnation is the belief of having a permanent soul that goes from one lifetime to the next. Now, the interesting thing about dependent origination is it's constantly arising and passing away. There's birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, continually happening. When you get deep enough in your meditation, you can actually begin to see this sort of thing. Especially when you get into the realm of infinite consciousness. As you see those consciousnesses being born, you see that they're there for a little while, you see them disappear. And it happens fast. Now, what are you doing with your meditation? You're learning how to calm your mind down enough that you can begin to see very clearly how this whole process works. As you keep on opening and relaxing over and over and over and over many thousands of times, many tens of thousands of times, many hundreds of thousands of times, many millions of thousands of times, as you do that more and more every time and come back to your object of meditation, your mindfulness, your observation power is sharpened just a little bit. As you keep doing this over and over and over and over, your observation becomes finer and finer and finer, and you start to see these things arise and pass away very easily. It doesn't happen right away. You see it on gross levels when you first start out. You see your mind flip-flopping all over the place. And as you start to let go and relax and don't criticize yourself for having wandering thoughts, these friends, when they come, are helping you, because every time you let them go and relax and come back, it's helping to sharpen your awareness. So there's no such a thing in your entire life as an enemy, a bummer, a hassle. There's no such a thing. It's all part of the process. I wish it would go away. I wish it would stay. There's no such a thing. It's just process arising and passing away. As you see that process more and more clearly, you let go more and more to the idea that there's some kind of controller behind it all. It's me. It's mine. You don't have any control. It arises because conditions are right. So all of these different hindrances, when they arise, are there to help you. Be friends with them. Now, on occasion, I've told this story before, that there was a monk up in the Himalayas and he was in a cave and he'd been meditating all day and decided he wanted to have a cup of tea and watch the sunset. So he started fixing the tea, and all of a sudden these demons came roaring into his cave, making huge amounts of noise. And they were really ugly. They had flesh dripping off of their skull and things like that. They smelled incredibly bad. Their smell was so bad that it left a taste on your tongue. And they were yelling. And the monk looked up and said, "Oh, good, I have some friends. Why don't you sit down by the fire and warm yourself while I make you a cup of tea?" And these demons looked at him and said, "Aren't you afraid of us?" And he said, "No. When you dukkha demons come, it's showing where my attachment is. You dukkha demons of fear and anxiety and restlessness and hatred and lust, of doubt. All of you guys are welcome. I look forward to your coming here." That's the kind of attitude we need to take when you see you're starting to get over serious about things. Now this sounds kind of weird. A monk is telling me to be happy. This monk is telling me to smile. Why? Because when you smile, you have a tendency to have a light mind that's very alert, and it's very easy to stay on your object of meditation. When you see you're not smiling, it's being pulled away to something else. So, when these, quote, troubles arise, they are your best friend and teacher. It's showing you where your old habits of thinking are, and when a feeling arises, what you do with that feeling. If you don't like it, you try to push that feeling away with your thoughts, and it doesn't work, and it hurts. The more you try to control, the bigger the pain becomes. And in everyday life, that's what happens. And people go to the doctor and say, "Give me some drugs. I can't sleep. I have trouble sleeping. My mind just keeps on going and going and going." Why do hindrances arise? Hindrances arise because we've broken the precepts. We have guilty feeling in one way or another. We have anxiety. We did things that we wish we hadn't done. There are some things we wish we had done, and we dwell on that with aversion in your mind. And when that aversion arises, is that a pleasant feeling or an unpleasant feeling? Unpleasant feeling. Causes a lot of tension and tightness in your mind and your body. You can't relax. Because you can't relax, your mind just takes off and it starts spinning, going all the time. What is the cure? The Buddha was an amazing doctor. He said, "You have suffering. That's the disease." He doesn't look at the symptoms of the suffering. He looks for the cause of the suffering. And he sees that the cause of the suffering is craving. How does craving appear in your mind and in your body? What happens? Tension and tightness arises in both your mind and your body. And what happens right after that? All of the thoughts about why you don't like that feeling and want it to stop, and all of the thoughts keep building. And it's this habitual tendency that causes this to arise. Every time this kind of feeling arises, I do that. I try to ignore it. I try to make it go away. I fight with it and become depressed. And you might stay depressed for a week or 10 days, depending on what the trauma was and what your attachment to it is. Eventually you forget about it, but that doesn't mean it won't come up when another situation that's similar arises, and the old one gets on top of the new one, and it starts building on top of that and gets real big. So, when the hindrances arise, what are the instructions in the meditation? Recognize that you're not on your object of meditation. Don't get involved in the story of why that feeling is there. Let go of the story and relax. Feel your mind expand. Feel your body relax a little bit. Next, you'll notice that tight mental fist around that unpleasant feeling. And this is where you have to relax your body and allow the feeling to be there. It hurts. Okay, it hurts. So what? I don't like it. Okay, you don't like it. So what? What's the truth? What's the Dhamma of the present moment? The Dhamma is when a feeling arises, it's there. Doesn't matter how much you fight it. Doesn't matter how much you try to make it go away or change. We have to do the exact opposite of what we feel like doing. We feel like going to war with this feeling, and what we really have to do is allow the feeling to be there. Because it's the truth. Anytime you try to fight with the truth, anytime you try to control the truth or push the truth around, that is the cause of suffering. Guaranteed. And you'll do that a little bit until you learn not to do that anymore. Pain and suffering is the best teacher we have, because it's saying, hey, right here, there's the attachment. Look at it real close. Oh, you don't want to look at it? Okay, we'll tighten up a little bit. You still don't want to look at it? Okay, we'll tighten up some more. And let your thoughts just run away with you. Are you going to learn this time? And sometimes we say, no, we're not going to learn this time. We got to go through this again. And again, until finally you start going, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm causing all of this pain and suffering to myself. I don't need to do that. Then you allow the feeling to be and relax. And you let that feeling be there. Okay, it's unpleasant. Fine. Restlessness is a definite unpleasant feeling. And you feel like jumping out of your skin. What's the way you overcome restlessness? Don't move your body. Let the feeling be there. Relax into that. Focus on peace and calm in your mind. Relax. Relax. That's the key. Okay?